Have you ever paused to wonder why the quiet hum of your own thoughts feels more like a friend than a stranger as the years roll by? Picture this: a silver-haired figure sits alone on a weathered porch, a steaming mug of coffee in hand, gazing at the soft glow of dawn breaking over the horizon. There's no chatter, no clamor, just the rustle of leaves in the breeze and the steady rhythm of their own breathing. For many, this scene might seem lonely, but what if I told you it's a portrait of profound wisdom? As we age, the allure of solitude often grows stronger, not because we're retreating from the world, but because we've learned to embrace the richness it offers. Society may shout that constant connection is the key to happiness, but there's a quiet rebellion in choosing stillness over noise. A rebellion that speaks of strength, self-awareness, and growth. In this journey, we'll uncover 5 powerful reasons why seniors who savor their alone time aren't just surviving, they're thriving. From cherishing peace to diving into lifelong learning, these insights reveal that solitude isn't about isolation. It's about living life on your own terms. Stay with me until the end. You might just find that your love for quiet moments is one of the greatest treasures of growing older. Number 1. You understand the value of peace. Imagine a life where the chaos of ringing phones, endless to-do lists, and forced small talk fades into a distant memory. For many seniors, that shift isn't a fantasy, it's a hard-earned reality. After decades of juggling careers, raising families, and weathering storms of conflict, peace transforms from a fleeting guest into a cherished companion. It's not just about escaping noise. It's about recognizing that tranquility is a necessity, a lifeline that restores the soul. You've seen enough of life to know that drama is a thief, stealing energy, clouding judgment, and leaving exhaustion in its wake. Instead of chasing hollow distractions, you now curate your days with intention, choosing moments and people that nourish rather than deplete. Take Gerald, a spry 70-year-old with a shock of white hair and a twinkle in his eye. In his youth, he was the life of every party, his calendar brimming with coworkers' happy hours, neighborhood barbecues, and casual catch-ups. He thrived on the buzz of conversation, even when it left him drained, because being social felt like a duty he couldn't shirk. But when retirement arrived, something shifted. He began to peel back the layers of his life, noticing how many of those connections were tethered to routine rather than meaning. One crisp autumn day, he declined an invitation to a crowded reunion, opting instead for a solitary walk through the woods near his home. The crunch of leaves underfoot, the cool air brushing his face, the absence of chatter. It was revelatory. He didn't miss the noise. He felt liberated. Now, Gerald spends his mornings lost in a novel or simply watching the world awaken from his porch. A quiet joy settling into his bones. This choice isn't weakness, it's wisdom. To embrace solitude is to trust yourself enough to let go of the need for constant validation. While others might fidget in silence, afraid of their own minds, you've learned to sit with your thoughts and find comfort there. Society might whisper that withdrawing means you're lonely, but you know the truth. Solitude is a deliberate act, a boundary drawn to protect your peace. It's the difference between being cast adrift and steering your own ship into calm waters. When you reach this stage, where peace outweighs the clamor of pointless socializing, you've claimed a gift that eludes so many, a life shaped by what truly matters. Number 2, you have a strong sense of self. Who are you when the room empties and the spotlight fades? It's a question that haunts the young, driving them to mold themselves into shapes that fit others' expectations. But as the years pile up, something remarkable happens. You stop asking for permission to be yourself. Age brings a clarity that cuts through the noise of approval-seeking, revealing a core of strength forged by experience. You've weathered enough storms, heartbreaks, triumphs, quiet regrets, to know your own contours, your likes and dislikes, the lines you won't cross. And in that knowing lies a power that solitude amplifies. Consider Patricia, a 68-year-old woman with a cascade of gray curls and a laugh that once lit up crowded rooms. In her younger days, she was a social butterfly, flitting from brunches to book clubs, her days a whirlwind of plans. She'd always been the planner, the one who rallied friends for weekend getaways or impromptu dinners, terrified of the stillness that lingered when the crowd dispersed. But as retirement loomed, she felt a tug, a yearning for something quieter. One rainy afternoon, she canceled a lunch date and stayed home, brewing a pot of tea and settling into an armchair with nothing but her thoughts. At first, the silence unnerved her, but then she began to listen to herself. She took up solo hikes through rolling hills, savoring the rhythm of her steps, and even booked a trip to a coastal village, wandering cobblestone streets alone with a camera in hand. What she discovered was a woman she'd barely known, confident, curious, complete. This self-assurance is the hallmark of those who relish solitude. Where others might crumble under the weight of their own company, you stand tall, unshaken by the absence of applause. You don't need a chorus of voices to tell you who you are. You've written that story yourself, page by page, through decades of living. Patricia no longer bends to the whims of others' schedules or expectations. She chooses her path, whether it's a quiet morning with a sketch pad or an evening lost in music, because she knows her worth isn't tied to anyone else's gaze. Some might mistake her preference for alone time as aloofness, but those who see clearly recognize it for what it is, the quiet strength of a soul at home in its own skin. Number 3, you choose quality over quantity in relationships. Picture a bustling dinner party, clinking glasses, overlapping voices, a sea of faces. Now imagine walking away from it, not out of disdain, but because you've learned a truth that youth often misses: more doesn't mean better. As you age, the scales tip, and the sheer number of people in your orbit matters less than the depth of the ties that bind you. Wisdom whispers that time is finite, and you begin to sift through your relationships like a prospector panning for gold, keeping only what shines with authenticity. Frank, a 72-year-old with a weathered smile and hands that still bear the calluses of a carpenter's life, knows this well. In his prime, he was a fixture at every gathering: birthdays, poker nights, community picnics, his laughter a thread weaving through the crowd. He'd linger long after the plates were cleared, reluctant to leave the warmth of company, even when the conversations grew stale. But as the years wore on, he felt a shift. The invitations still came, but many felt like echoes of obligation rather than connection. One evening, after a particularly draining barbecue where he'd nodded through shallow chatter, he made a choice. He pared back his social circle, investing instead in the handful of souls who truly saw him. His daughter, who shared his dry humor, a lifelong friend who'd weathered losses beside him, and his own quiet company. Now his days are lighter, filled with meaningful exchanges rather than hollow noise. This isn't retreat, it's refinement. You've outgrown the need to collect acquaintances like trophies, understanding that a single heartfelt conversation outweighs a dozen forced smiles. You seek mutual respect, shared understanding, the kind of bonds that don't unravel at the first sign of strain. Some might see your smaller circle and assume you've turned inward, but they miss the point. You're not hiding from the world. You're curating it. You've learned that true connection isn't measured in head counts, but in the quiet moments when presence matters more than performance. That discernment, that courage to let go of what doesn't serve you, is a wisdom carved from years of living fully. Number 4, you enjoy lifelong learning. What if the golden years aren't a sunset but a new dawn, a chance to chase curiosities you once shelved? Too often, aging is painted as a slow fade, a time when growth stalls and the mind settles into familiar grooves. But for those who embrace solitude, it's the opposite, a vibrant season of discovery. Alone time becomes a canvas, vast and unhurried, where you paint with the colors of new ideas, skills, and passions. While others might lean on social circles for distraction, you turn inward, finding joy in the quiet pursuit of knowledge and the thrill of stretching your mind beyond its old borders. Take Eleanor, a 74-year-old with sharp eyes and a voice softened by years of storytelling. For decades, her life was a whirlwind, raising 3 children, managing a bustling household, and climbing the ranks in a demanding nursing career. Free time was a myth, her days a blur of responsibility. When retirement arrived, friends expected her to join bridge clubs or volunteer committees, but Eleanor had other plans. One rainy afternoon, she pulled a dusty history book from her shelf, its pages yellowed but brimming with untold stories. That spark ignited a fire. She devoured volumes on ancient civilizations, her kitchen table soon cluttered with notes and sketches. Then came painting, her trembling hands steadying as she brushed vibrant hues across canvas, capturing scenes from her imagination. She even began journaling, her pen tracing memories of a childhood spent chasing fireflies in the summer dusk. Far from lonely, Eleanor's solitude buzzed with purpose, each day a step deeper into a world she was still eager to explore. This hunger for growth isn't just a pastime, it's a lifeline. Studies whisper what Eleanor already knows. Seniors who keep their minds active through learning fend off the fog of age, their neurons firing with the vigor of youth. But it's more than that. It's the quiet thrill of mastering a chord on the guitar, the satisfaction of piecing together a foreign phrase, the awe of uncovering a truth you'd never considered. Where others might see solitude as a void, you see an opportunity, a space to challenge yourself, to revel in the vastness of what you don't yet know. Many spend their lives believing wisdom is a destination, reached and rested upon, but you understand it's a journey, one that solitude fuels with every book opened, every skill honed. That relentless curiosity, that refusal to stagnate, marks you as wise beyond measure. Number 5, you are comfortable with your own thoughts and emotions. Imagine sitting alone in a dimly lit room, the world outside hushed, and feeling not a trace of unease, just peace. For so many, solitude is a specter to flee, a mirror they'd rather not face. They pile their days with noise, televisions blaring, phones pinging, voices overlapping, anything to drown out the whisper of their own minds. But you've crossed a threshold they may never reach. As the years have unfolded, you've grown at ease with the ebb and flow of your thoughts, the weight of your past, the flicker of your emotions. To sit in stillness and feel whole is no small feat. It's a triumph of emotional resilience, a testament to a life deeply lived. Walter, a 69-year-old with a mop of salt and pepper hair and a gait slowed by time, embodies this quiet victory. In his younger days, he was a whirlwind of motion, bar hopping with buddies, cracking jokes at family reunions, filling every gap with the hum of company. Silence unnerved him, a void where doubts and old wounds might creep in. But age brought a reckoning. One winter evening, after a raucous holiday party left him hollow, he stayed home instead of joining the usual crowd. He lit a fire, the crackle of logs his only companion, and let his mind wander. Memories surfaced, his first job, a love lost, a father's stern words, and instead of pushing them away, he sat with them. He traced the scars of his life, not with regret, but with gratitude for the lessons they carried. In that stillness, he found a peace he'd never known, a strength that didn't need a chorus to affirm it. This comfort is the pinnacle of wisdom. You don't flinch at the quiet because you've made peace with who you are, flaws, triumphs, and all. You've sifted through the chapters of your story, from the jubilant highs to the shadowed lows, and found a thread of acceptance weaving them together. Where others might run from reflection, you embrace it, using solitude as a sanctuary to process, to heal, to grow. It's not that you shun company, you simply don't need it to feel complete. You can savor a friend's laughter or a grandchild's hug, then return to your own space without a pang of longing. This equilibrium, this ability to stand alone and feel content, is a gift forged in the fires of time, a sign you've mastered the art of being fully, unapologetically yourself. Final thoughts. So here we are, at the close of this journey through the quiet brilliance of solitude. Choosing to spend more time alone as you age isn't a retreat, it's a revelation. It's the courage to value peace over pandemonium, to know yourself beyond the world's clamor, to seek depth in relationships rather than breadth, to chase knowledge with a child's wonder, and to sit with your soul unafraid. Society may chase the illusion that happiness lies in constant connection, but you've uncovered a deeper truth. Solitude isn't empty. It's brimming with purpose, reflection, and the freedom to live authentically. Not everyone arrives here. Some cling to distraction, fearing the silence you've learned to love. But if you find joy in your own company, if you could bask in a quiet moment and feel at peace, you've claimed one of aging's greatest rewards, the wisdom to be whole, just as you are. What resonates with you most? Do you see these threads woven into your own life? The peace, the self-awareness, the hunger for growth? I'd love to hear your story. Share one insight that struck a chord, one way you'll carry this wisdom forward. Your voice matters. It's a spark that keeps this conversation alive. If these words stirred something in you, let me know, and let's keep exploring together.